Hello. Again, another party video. And it's beautiful outside. It was incredibly beautiful last night. The moon was absolutely gorgeous. And we went outside at about 4 a.m. and the moon was like directly above us, like a lamp. And it was shining into the garden, and it was so incredibly gorgeous the way the papa dog was walking way out there under the moon next to the forest, and he has no fear, and it's just such a beautiful landscape out there. It was so magnificent and so gorgeous, and I am just infinitely grateful for every beauty thing we have in our lives. I'm so infinitely grateful for that. And everybody should be infinitely grateful for everything nice and beautiful that they have in their lives. So I think that's very important, to feel gratitude. It's very important. So, but sometimes, sometimes we don't feel so good, even though we feel much gratitude. Sometimes we don't feel so good, and we need to not brush over those feelings either. So, we need to acknowledge all feelings that are there, and not like Tony Robbins. If a lady comes to his office and she cries, he'll throw a cup of water in her face, like, Tony, no, don't do that, man. That's like, that is something I don't agree with Tony Robbins. We need to acknowledge all feelings that we have, and particularly when we're crying, we don't want someone to be hysterical about that and throw water in our face, and as if that's something terrible. So no, crying is equally important, to any kind of feeling that is there. If you feel like crying, go for it. Go for it all the way, Tony too. Go for it. And I know Tony Robbins has emotional stuff that is not worked through yet. It's important. His approach is very important. Help me to straighten up my life tremendously. It's very important, but that's one lopside, a very important one, but still a lopside. So in order to move forward, we have to pull all the strings that are there, and it's very important to acknowledge what we feel at any given time, and also acknowledge when we are triggered by something, not to ignore being triggered and saying to oneself, oh, I better straighten up, I better not feel this way, I must be ungrateful. No, 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 no. It has nothing to do with being ungrateful. When we're triggered, old stuff comes up. It has nothing to do with not being grateful. Old stuff comes up, and when that comes up, we need to acknowledge it, and we need to look at it and not run away from it, not drown it out with the vacuum cleaner or talk radio or some loud aggressive pop music or something. So, yeah, or heavy metal, whatever people use to drown out things, yeah. Or horror movies, or partying, or whatever they use to drown stuff out with. Don't drown it out anymore. Sit down in total quietness. I noticed that a lot of people, their videos, there's not one quiet moment in their videos. Not one quiet moment that requires a little bit meditation, a little bit contemplation. I'm talking about the very popular videos on YouTube. I love those people myself. I love them very much. But they are like massively drowning out stuff from the past. I mean, it's like not one, it's also edited on top of it and put in an extra load of loud squeals and screams and stars and flowers and this and that and extra joke and this and this and this and this and this and this and this. Calm the heck down. Man, let people suffer from their ADHD and let them sit there for a moment and say nothing and just be quiet with whatever there is around. This is a quiet room. I like it. I hear some noises from the living room downstairs. My husband is hard at hearing. He has it blasting. But I don't hear it very loud up here, and it's nice, and it's just so gorgeous and peaceful looking at the pink sunset over the ocean. It's just so incredibly beautiful. I'm so infinitely grateful for this infinitely amazing place. There's the sun, orange, sparkling through the needle trees. It's amazing. It's beautiful. We need to appreciate those things, you know. And when the past comes up, like a ghost, that's what people are running away from. They're panicked about quietness. What if the voice of the past comes up? What if the old pain comes up? Yeah. It probably will, because it's been trying to speak to you for so long and you are drowning it out with shrill excitement, Vegas sounds. Oh my gosh. Peacefulness is necessary. Peace and bliss. Just sit with whatever comes up. Breathe. Very important to breathe. I notice a lot of people are afraid to be just regular people. Like they're not, as if it's not okay to just be a regular person. Be a regular person. Just be a regular person. I am a regular person, insignificant. That's the subject I want to talk about. What is that like? What does it mean to be insignificant to others? You're not insignificant to the trees. They find you very significant. Okay. And if you make an artwork out of cardboard boxes, that artwork finds you very significant because you made it. You are a creator. You can create an artwork. You can make anything. The modern artists have shown us that art does not have to be, there's no law. in modern art. There's no accurateness, there's no precision necessary, there is no realistic painting necessary, there is no looking at what's acceptable necessary, there is no copying necessary of another artist, there is no style that is on vogue that you need to imitate, there is no color that has to be reproduced, that comes out of the fashion industry. You can use any color and any shape, and you can use any materials that you have. You can use packaging materials, you can tape that up with masking tape, and you can paint that in any color you want. And you can play around with it. Your inner child will come up gradually, and it will take over, and it will become happy and playful. Right? And when someone says, what the heck is that? Ignore that person. It's none of their business. Okay? This is your world, your room and your world, your space. That's your beingness that you are expressing. That's none of anyone's business. If they want to live in misery, that's their business. Go for it, man. You know. But tell them to go for it. But don't let that misery into your space. So what is this all about, being insignificant? Why do we have to be affirmed? Why do we have to be acknowledged by someone else? I'm asking that question myself. I'm not above anything. I'm making these videos for myself mainly. What is it about this being insignificant? I might even be weird and then shamed for that. Or I'm shamed for being too normal. I'm always shamed for something. People shame. Do I have to make that my norm? No. Okay, no. Do I have to go by anyone? No. No. I don't accept that. And I don't accept that when there's a whole group of people that tell me something, or a whole nation. It doesn't mean anything to me. And if a whole nation or the whole world of humans reject me, then that's how it is. That doesn't mean I have to reject myself and become someone else just so that they will like me. No, never. I am who I am. I am normal, insignificant, weird, dorky, nerdy, boring, uninteresting, unexciting. There's no excitement that I have to offer. No glitter even. Literally, I have no glitter to offer. Maybe the disco ball lights. That's the only glitter. Because I even quit painting with glitter paint. Because glitter paint is bad for the environment. So I put the earth above those kind of sensual excitement, whatever, materials. The earth. I live for the earth. The earth is more important than I am and my needs and whatever. I will quit anything for the earth if I can save the earth. I would quit sex. I already didn't have sex for a long time. I would quit any kind of pleasure, masturbation, eating. I would even give my life. I give everything, anything. If someone offered me, here you could be famous instantly, they'll make you famous. Yeah, they make you president. That's how much leverage they have. The corporations can make any of you president overnight. If if you catered enough to them, if you signed away your life and your soul to them and said, I'll sign anything you want, and then they will make you a superstar, okay, overnight. They can do this. They have done that with many people. Okay, I'm not even going to mention names now, but you figure it out for yourself. Who these people are and were and what's going on out there. But they can make any of us famous. So if I have a choice, between instant fame or never be significant and saving the earth, of course I choose non-significance. I want to save the earth. And even if someone said, we'll have to execute you so that we can save the earth, I say go for it. Right on the spot. Right now I'm there for my papa dog, though. I want to be there for my papa dog. So, because Paul needs me to be there for the papa dog. But, after the papa dog is back in the Orion Nebula, and after he took off his spacesuit, then I can take off my spacesuit anytime. It doesn't matter. If that would help people, I mean animals and people, but by people I always mean animals too. Beautiful, the sunset with the pink sky, gorgeous. Wonderful. It doesn't matter where you are, what you have. I feel very privileged to have this amazing place. I'm infinitely grateful for everything I have. I was also grateful before I met Paul. I was grateful in LA when I lived in one bedroom or bachelor apartments, paying like $1,000 for a little itty bitty bachelor apartment. I was still grateful. I was still grateful that I could even go shopping at Walmart or Target. So sometimes I went to Santa Monica, I went to that big open shopping road where just people go, big open shopping road, beautiful. Sometimes I was just grateful to, even before I had anyone in my life, before I had a dog, I would always be excited to meet a dog. I would pet the dog. Then I wouldn't wash my hands as long as possible. For many, many hours I wouldn't wash my hands after petting a dog, because I wanted that dog smell on my hands as long as possible. And I was grateful for having that dog smell, luxurious dog smell on my hands. It's something also I learned from Tony Robbins, is that whatever you have, wherever you are, at any given time, you can be grateful for something. You can be grateful to have food. You can be grateful to be able to make yourself herbal tea and drink that. Be grateful to have a heater to heat up your room. Be grateful to have oxygen to breathe that comes through a gap. And when you open the window, just a little gap, just an inch, get a little airflow through. Be grateful for that. Be grateful to have the sky. You know, the sky is there for every one of us. But also acknowledge any kind of feeling that comes up. Don't ignore. If there's a negative feeling coming up, don't suppress it and don't say to yourself, now you're not being grateful. No, you're still grateful. But the feeling is coming up and it wants to talk to you. If it's a feeling of grief, allow it. Allow your body to feel the grief as long as it needs to. However long it takes. It doesn't matter what other people say. It never ever matters what someone else says. Okay? It never does. If someone is grateful, so if someone is respectful to you, if someone is nurturing to you, that's wonderful, you know. But if they are not, then let them go. Don't pay attention to it. Don't view that as some kind of social law, like they're the social law police or something. No, no. When it comes to psychology and emotions, don't let anyone police you. It's not their business, it's not their brain, it's not their life, it's not their sphere, it's not their beingness, it's not their space. Okay? Don't let someone intrude into your space. You have a space bubble around you. You have to value that and you have to nurture that space bubble around you. Very important. That's what I've been doing for most of my life. For me, it went to the point where I had to quit relationships, a lot of relationships. I cried while I did that, because I really felt abandoned, but I had to let people go. Particularly before I came to Los Angeles, I had to let people go. I had to let a very crazy boyfriend go, a psychotic boyfriend. I had to let him go. And it was really me who was clinging to him. I was the one who was codependent, who was dependent on him. I was so vulnerable that I was dependent on him. But then I read Arjanov's books, and after each book I read, that inner voice became stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And that inner voice said, look, this isn't going anywhere, okay? This dude is crazy as heck. And you're not going to change him. You're not going to heal him, particularly not when you are mentally ill yourself. How can you heal him? How can you heal each other if you are codependent and if you step on each other's emotional feet while you're doing it? That's not going to work. So I had to go. I had to do the necessity for myself, and I had to go. And then suddenly, he realized that I was going to go. He realized that this was serious, that this wasn't just some kind of emotional game playing. I was going to go for good. I just saw him one time again when I came back after 3 months, and I hooked up with him just to say hi. But it wasn't romantic anymore. I had already been dating someone else in LA, and that wasn't going anywhere either. But I was whether I was dating or not, my emotions were done with that crazy guy. So I just felt some compassion for him, that's all. And I told him that there's a path, okay? We can go within ourselves, we can cry, there are ways to do it. For most people, this is probably not that easy to do this all by yourself. Probably not easy. But now we have YouTube, we have these videos, we have people to talk to, we have people to demonstrate things in their videos, including meditation, including crying, including expressing of certain things, including entire philosophies and going very deep into it. If you have the patience to watch that, it's the path towards healing. Yeah. T.L. Swan, Eckhart Tolle, Pema Children also. Although Pema Children is quite strictly religious, but still there are elements in it that are very helpful and healing. So my message to Pema Children is please speak out for the baby seals in Newfoundland. There are people out there, There may even be some therapists that are applying real genuine approaches to inwardness processes. There may be some that are paid by your governmental health care. I don't know. There are many people. You have to explore that for yourselves. It's a self-exploration path. That's what makes it so difficult, but it's also rewarding, and that in itself is part of the therapy. To take that power back into your own hands and not lean back and let someone administer therapies, administer things on you. No, you have to at all times be looking at it with an open and critical mind at the same time. You can't just let someone administer a therapy and then be surprised when this doesn't work out. Because these other people, they're just tapping in the dark just like you are. The psychiatrist tapping in the dark, they go by pharma industry, they get kickbacks for the medication. It's a business for them. It's not about healing anything. For most of them, I guess. Or they just don't know better. They think that's supposed to be healing. There's nothing healing in psychiatry today. So that's why I had to completely let go of that. Completely. You completely leave it behind and you never go back. Yeah. And that's the only path to take. I'd be dead now. If I hadn't quit that shit in 2003, I would be gone. No. So at least now I'm still sitting here. I don't look very good, but I'm still here, and I can at least encourage other people to go on that healing path. I'm not finished yet. I'm not a shining, glorious star or something. But at least I don't have those toxins in my body anymore. And I don't have to go to a psychologist who tells me bullshit, who doesn't understand anything I'm talking about. My last psychiatrist in LA, she didn't understand anything I'm talking about. I have intrusive thoughts. She thought I was being a psychopath because of that. intrusive thoughts, it's like it's the opposite. It's like intrusive thoughts is like it's like when you're overly worried that you might hurt someone or that this could happen, where to the point where you don't even want to touch a knife anymore, you know. And the psychiatrist doesn't know shit about that. Yeah, man, it's amazing. So yeah, I am done with all psychiatrists. The path is to explore the world and to read and to study things. You don't need to have money to go to university or to buy expensive books or something. You don't even need to go into a library and get some filthy, stinking books that people have put shit particles and scum and cigarette particles into, you know. So no, you don't even need to do this anymore. All you need is the internet. And you can research all of it. Every day you can do researching. Follow your curiosity with these things. Just follow your curiosity, watch videos, watch everything, including the things that don't feel so good. Watch at least one of those to know what's going on. I don't watch the news, but at least I pay attention and because I need to know about psychology. I watch documentary films sometimes, also about the Middle East. I want to know what's going on there. I want to know what's happening. This is very pathological, what's happening there. Very pathological. And what the reasons are why people have become so cold and violent. What is going on, you know? So I hear everyone out. I hear what they have to say about it. I'm still tapping in the dark, so to, I don't know, 80% or something. But I learned a lot also. I got some answers now. I'm trying to put these answers to the test myself. I'm trying to figure out whether that's true, what they said. But I really want to know. I want to understand more. And I want to understand what it is all about feeling insignificant, because I think that most violence in the world comes out of that emotion of feeling insignificant. Not even so much out of some of the alibi emotions that are being, you know, some people they will proclaim their alibi emotions. Yo, we have inequality and they're walking on us like a rug and blah blah blah. I think most of those feelings are made up alibi emotions. It's not the real thing that's cooking underneath. The real thing that's cooking underneath is feelings of insignificance. That goes so far that I used to live in a community out there in LA for a while. I don't know, for a couple of months. I wanted to experience this, how people feel and live there. On every street corner at church, and I saved a little black baby from drowning because the mother was on some kind of drug. If I hadn't been there, baby would have died. I saw that in the nick of time. There was a baby at the pool. I thought, how did the baby get there? Baby fell into the pool. They always go under the water right away. I rushed over. I brought the baby back to the surface. I held the baby close to my chest and I gave him love, and the baby was able to recover. And and we tried to find someone to take care of the baby. Apparently the mother was out of it, drugged up, totally dysfunctional. So a little boy said to me, the kids, they all liked me a lot because I loved them all. I was really there for them. I saw them. They would come up and take my hand. It was very touching, you know. We made a painting afternoon once, and they all came in my apartment, and we all painted paintings on paper, and then we would do an exhibition in my kitchen, and we'll pin up every one of their paintings, and they would come over and they'll say, "That's my painting, I did that one." And the other one would say, "Oh, there's my painting. Oh, cool." And they were all happy, and I fed them fruits, and I actually spoon fed some of those babies. Some were like 2 years old. They would come over, and I would spoon feed them fruits, and they had never eaten fruits in their entire life before, and their bodies needed that. They needed fruits. They needed plant food, not junk food. So it was all very, 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 very heartbreaking to see how these people are living. They threw everything in the trash dumpster. There's no recycling, nothing. It was very heartbreaking to see. At least I didn't see any animals. That was, at least they didn't have animals. Not that I could see, you know. Maybe they did, but I don't know. I didn't see any animals that needed to be rescued. That would have been even more heartbreaking for me if I'd seen an animal being all neglected, because the animals in the world suffer the most. They're the most helpless, and they're the most innocent. Once I saw a white rabbit, and also in a real bad neighborhood in LA. A white rabbit sitting there on the sidewalk. My gosh. Kids playing with that rabbit. You know, amongst all that garbage, and it's heartbreaking, you know. Heartbreaking to see innocence in such a grim and bleak environment. So, but in that one area, a little boy came over, and he asked me if I had money, and I said, "No, I'm real poor." And he said, "Don't say that to anyone. You're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to say that you're poor." So now that engraved itself into my brain too, because that's the same thing with the insignificance. You know, people, the more insignificant they feel, the less they want to talk about it. The more in need they are, the less actually they want to talk about it. They don't even want to reach out for help. The inner pride, the ego, wants to cover that up. You know, feeling poor or disadvantaged or insignificant. You know, they don't want to talk about it. Well, some other people talk about it all the time and make that an act out, of course. You know. But there are people who don't even want to talk about it because they're ashamed about it, and they don't even want to admit that to themselves. Most people don't want to admit anything, any of the truth. That's not a path. That's not where it's going. The first step is we have to acknowledge what's going on. We have to acknowledge where the problems are. We have to be willing to look at the issues that are there. We can do one increment at the time, don't take on too much at once. We can't sometimes. We're shackled by emotions. But we take one thing at the time. Do something good for yourself. Okay, that's the very first step. That's the Tony Robbins approach. The Teal Swan takes it another step further and says, do self-affirmations, write amazing things down about yourself. Put them under a glass jar of water or a plastic container of water. With that, you can get a 3-gallon plastic container, clear container. You can fill that with filtered water, and you put that on top of a page of beautiful, beautiful affirmation. Teal Swan writes about it in one of her books, about the shadow work. Shadow, forgot now the exact title. So you write down beautiful things. You write down that I deserve love, I deserve happiness. Or you write down I am beautiful, even if you don't feel that way. You write it down, and you write down I'm sending love to myself, love to the water. And this energy from the page, that you have written, handwritten is the best, I think, because a lot of emotional energy goes into that, an energetic vibration, and that will go into the water. My papa dog loves that water. He loves to drink that water. I'm gonna make a specific papa dog affirmation page that I will put under the water, and I will make, and one for myself. I'll put both of them under that jug next time. But this love is universal. It's for all of us. Just writing down beauty, health, abundance, for all of us. And it goes into the water, and you drink it, and you will feel it. Your body will feel it. Those are all techniques that are amazing. Or you go into nature, or you grow your own vegetable, and maybe in just one pot alone. You put that by the window, see it growing. Grow some parsley. You can buy parsley seeds for like $1 or less at Amazon. You put those into a pot. You water it every day. Put it by the window where the sun gets in and where it has the most sunlight. And you keep the room warm, and you water this, and you watch it grow. And when it is adult stage, you can cut some off and put that into your salad, or cut it and put that on vegan mayonnaise on bread, and it tastes really great. I mean, it's just a few examples, but there are so many things that we can do actually in little increments to make ourselves feel better. And when the feeling comes up, I feel insignificant, allow it to be. Don't resist it. Don't cover it up with something, because it wants to be there. It's there for a reason, because we've been hurt. We have not been cuddled enough with. We didn't get enough kisses. This is a fact. Most of us. So then we see people that we think have it all on the internet. That's the negative side of the internet. There's always yin and yang. You see all these people that are, but I'm very deeply, infinitely grateful to those stars on the internet that are actually talking about their emotional problems and their nitty-gritty and their issues. I'm infinitely grateful for them because they are showing you, look, I'm just a regular person just like you. I'm an animal just like you. I have feelings like you. It's the same struggles and all of that going on. Matter of fact, as David Foster Wallace, he said that he didn't expect to become famous when he was still in high school or right after high school. He shot up in fame very quickly with some of his novels, because those novels did hit some nerve in people. It did speak to some people. They felt actually addressed. They felt like someone was actually seeing them for the first time in them. Even though he wasn't directly seeing them, he was seeing their issues because he was talking about his own issues that were very similar. The issues of an indigo soul. He's an angel now, but he was an indigo soul. So people felt like, they felt they could relate. They felt like there was someone who could relate to them. So he shot up in fame. Suddenly, he was not even psychologically prepared much for that. He didn't see that coming. He wasn't prepared for this. So he said that was very difficult for him to deal with that fame. Because with that fame also comes this fear of, what if I fail now? What if I plunge back into where I was, or maybe lower? Maybe I'll feel terrible shame about myself if I let people down with their expectations now that they have of me. I'm just intellectualizing about this because I have never been there, so I don't know what it feels like to be famous. I suffer from not being seen, so not being felt in the past and in the present. So, but for him, it felt scary. So I can sort of get it, at least intellectually. I can get that. How maybe that must be a little scary. So suddenly all these people having expectations that he has to continue this in this glorious way, and what if and then he starts sweating a whole lot in front of people. So that's why he had to have a bandana around his forehead, because he would always have his forehead sweating a lot, and then he would be afraid of the sweat and afraid of the fear. So then it would escalate into fear of the fear, and he wrote about this in The Pale King. There's a character in there that has that issue, and I knew right away that's him. That's his own personal story, and I think that all of those characters are ultimately him. So the different aspects of him that he would bring out in the different characters of the book as a novel. But he was very open about his emotions. He was very humble, always talked about this. And I'm infinitely grateful to him and to any of these other people, Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson, those very famous people that are right now on YouTube, that are talking about their nitty-gritty. Also, Trisha Paytas talks about her emotional issues and cries in front of the camera and has nervous breakdowns and turns to the camera for help. I think that is very open-minded, and that is very open, and that is very, very good for the fans. That's very good for other people to see them also as with the same struggles, with the same problems, with the same fears, and so on. And for those people out there in the world who are really suppressing their stuff, when they see that star that they really admire and hold up so high, and want to strive towards becoming like that, when they see that they're talking about that stuff that they never dared to talk about. And I'm not judging them that they didn't dare to talk about it, they were just not ready for it. There was too much fear attached to it. But when they see these people talk about those things, that helps these people. That helps them. That helps the person talking about it, and it helps the person watching it. Because they feel they can relate to that person. We are not separate from each other. The haters feel so cut off from everyone, the haters. The haters feel trampled down on. But we are not cut off from each other. I have some enemies. I have some people that hate my guts. They want me to commit suicide. And my message to them is, you are not separate from me. It's the same story. Also, the reason why I might even attract someone like this to come after me in the first place is because something in me still resonates with them. Or something in me still vibrates on the same frequency. Of course it does, or they wouldn't even feel, might not even feel hate. They might see me like a tree and they walk past me or something, because the tree vibrates on a different frequency. So something in me still is vibrating on that frequency of hatred, and that's where it docks on. So a lady said to me on Facebook, was that you, Sandy P? I don't know. There's a Sandy Sandrine on Facebook. I don't know if that's the same Sandy, but if it's not the same Sandy, I love both of you. You're awesome. But Sandy Sandrine was the only sensitive person that came there on Facebook and said, I see all these comments from other people and are very, very rude and insensitive. And what I wanted to say really was, I thanked her for it, but it's kind of like my own fault in a way. I mean, ultimately, not in a judgmental way, but it is my fault in a non-judgmental way. It is, I'm bringing it on. Okay, I'm bringing on certain things because my face, I'm showing myself. I show selfies. There's hormones going on inside of me that shows in my facial, particularly in selfies, more than in an authentically spoken video where I show masks and grimaces. Yeah, the grimaces, they're beyond hormones. Clown. But in a selfie, it's like, posing. And you can see the hormones raging out of control. Of course, some people see this and it might trigger their hormones. Or it might trigger their pain and they see something in it that triggers their pain or their needs. Or, I mean, there are books told in faces. It's all unconscious. And there are books that will come up emotionally in other people by reading our facial books. Facebook. That's it. It's not a coincidence that it has that name. So my face is a book. It's an open book. Yeah. And people can read I mean, it's amazing how much people can read in even the tiniest thumbnail photo, even in a chat room. It's like, boy, are they using some kind of magnifying glass? Are they sitting there with some magnifying glass? I don't think so. I think they are so trained, and their egos are so trained in figuring out how that person in the photo feels in order to find the weak spots so that then they can go, hey, gotcha. You just want to feel pretty, don't you? Or you think you're better than anyone else. Or one guy said to me, I see your hatred in your eyes. I see it. I see your hatred. But at the same time, my hormones, he saw that too. And it was like, yeah, I want to, but I see your hatred. It's like so much going on. Sorry, it's not